The 2019 LSU versus Alabama game wasn't just college football. It was the future of the NFL, playing on a Saturday afternoon. Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Najee Harris, DeVonta Smith, Patrick Surtain, Jaylen Waddle. If you turned on that game, you were watching 15 future first-round picks on the same field. It was like watching an NFL Pro Bowl disguised as an SEC showdown. But what made this game even crazier is how rare this kind of talent overload really is. Because if you take your average D1 college football game, maybe, and I mean maybe, you'll find 2 or 3 guys who even make it to the NFL. This game had 40 plus players who went on to play on Sundays. Let's break it down, and by the end, you'll see why this might be the single most talented college football game ever played. Let's start with LSU, a team that went 15-0. They won the national championship, and they had arguably the greatest single season in college football history. But when you look under the hood, you realize they were stacked in a way most teams never even dream of. Joe Burrow wasn't just good, he was legendary. 5,671 yards, 60 touchdowns, a 76.3% completion rate, only 6 interceptions. That season was practically a video game. Burrow would go number 1 overall and later lead the Bengals to a Super Bowl appearance. He already has 2 Pro Bowl nods and a Comeback Player of the Year, actually 2 of them. He's the kind of guy you build your NFL franchise around. But LSU's offense wasn't just Joe Burrow. At running back, they had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who was a first rounder by the Kansas City Chiefs. And wide receiver, that's where things got insane. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson weren't just good in college. They're arguably the top 2 wide receivers in the entire NFL right now. Both were first rounders, both are all pros, both have already shattered records. On defense, LSU had first rounders in K'Lavon Chaisson, Patrick Queen, and Derek Stingley. Chaisson's still trying to find his groove, but Queen is a force and Stingley is one of the NFL's top young shutdown corners. But it doesn't stop there. Safety Grant Delpit and cornerback Christian Fulton were second rounders. Even their kicker, Cade York, got drafted in the 4th round by the Cleveland Browns. When your kicker's getting picked that high, you know your squad is absolutely loaded. Oh, and let's not forget star linebacker Devin White. He was the 5th overall pick. Super Bowl champ, defensive leader. He didn't play in this game due to being in the NFL already, but he was a foundational piece of LSU's rise. Now flip the script. 2019 Alabama wasn't just your average powerhouse. They were a factory of NFL studs. Tua Tagovailoa was the maestro, a lefty sniper with pinpoint accuracy, drafted in the top 5. He's been electric in the NFL when healthy, leading one of the league's most explosive offenses, at least for half a season. At running back, they had Najee Harris. He was a first rounder, big, physical, and versatile running back. And behind him, Brian Robinson and Jerome Ford. Both were starters at one point in the NFL. But their receiver room, that was the part that was completely unreal. Wide receiver 1 was DeVonta Smith, Heisman Trophy winner, a first rounder, a Super Bowl champion. Wide receiver 2 was Jerry Jeudy, a first rounder also. Wide receiver 3 was Henry Ruggs III, first rounder. Wide receiver 4, Jaylen Waddle, also a first rounder. And their wide receiver 5, John Mechie III, would get drafted in the 2nd round anyway. Not much of a drop-off. That's 5 NFL receivers and 1 college locker room. What school has that? In Alabama's offensive line, Alex Leatherwood was a first rounder. Jedrick Wills was a first rounder. And Landon Dickerson, even though he was a 2nd rounder, is an excellent player in the NFL today. You could have built an entire NFL offensive line just out of this unit alone. Now the defense? They had PS2. They were led by Patrick Surtain II, who's a lockdown corner. He was also a first rounder, and he won NFL Defensive Player of the Year last year. Trevon Diggs was a 2nd rounder, and he led the NFL in interceptions a few years back. Xavier McKinney, Christian Barmore, Raekwon Davis, Jordan Battle, Christian Harris, all drafted, all making plays at the next level. So let's tally that up. 15 first-round picks. Over 40 players total from this game have played in the NFL. That's not normal. That's not just rare. That's once-in-a-generation stuff. And the game, it delivered. LSU took it 46-41 in a thriller that lived up to every ounce of hype. Joe Burrow went 31 for 39 with 393 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tua actually outthrew him with 418 yards and 4 touchdowns, but also tossed the interception and was playing from behind most of the game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 103 yards and 3 touchdowns. Najee Harris had 146 yards and a touchdown. Ja'Marr Chase had 6 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown. And DeVonta Smith, who was the human highlight reel in college, put up 7 catches for 213 yards and 2 touchdowns. These weren't just highlight reels, they were previews of what these guys would do in the league. Let's say you built a team just from this game's players. Joe Burrow at quarterback, Najee Harris and CEH in the backfield, Ja'Marr Chase, Justin Jefferson, and DeVonta Smith at wide receiver, with Jaylen Waddle as your gadget guy, and a sturdy offensive line with Leatherwood, Wills, and Dickerson, and your defense anchored by linebacker Patrick Queen and corners Patrick Surtain, Trevon Diggs, and Derek Stingley, with safeties Xavier McKinney and Grant Delpit, with pass rush from Chasen and Barmore. That's not just an NFL roster, that's a Super Bowl contender. So the real question is, would this team beat the 2024 Chiefs or the 2025 Philadelphia Eagles? Let me know in the comments. That November showdown between LSU and Alabama wasn't just a college football classic. It was a prophecy, a crystal ball into the next 5 years of NFL dominance. You had Pro Bowlers, Super Bowl champs, a Heisman winner, and multiple guys who may end up in the Hall of Fame. So is this the most stacked college football game ever played, or do you think there's another game that deserves the crown? Drop your thoughts below, I'm reading every comment. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like and subscribe for more deep dives like this one, and check out our other videos like how the Patriots built the NFL's best defense quietly, or why the Rams wide receiver duo might torch the NFC in 2025. We'll catch you in the next one.